Mariners win 4-3. They improve to 66 and 65 on the season, and they take 2 of 3 from the San Francisco Giants. And it seems like it's been a long time since I've said take 2 of 3. I know they swept the Mets not that long ago, but when's the last time they won 2 of 3? I'm not going to look it up because I'm recording this video at 12:50 at night. But I'm glad I'm able to say it now. Would have preferred a sweep, but series wins are series wins. Go over the scoring plays. Heliot Ramos in the first inning homers off of Brian Wood with Tyler Fitzgerald on board. 2-0 in the middle of the first. Mariners do get one in the first. Cal Raleigh singles home Dylan Moore. And I did say Raleigh. Big dumper. 2-1 at the end of one. Not a lot happens until the fifth, but then Julio Rodriguez grounds into a fielder's choice to score Josh Rojas. That ties the game at 2. Mariners get 2 in the sixth. A bases-loaded double play by Mitch Haniger with nobody out scores a run. That makes it 3-2. And then Josh Rojas singles home Justin Turner 4-2. Eighth inning, Grant McRae hits a home run to right field, I believe it was, to make it 4-3 off of Colin Snyder. Things got very interesting in that inning and the inning afterwards, but ultimately, Mariners get the win. Number one negative, sorry this video is so late. My head was just killing me, and I worked a long day today. I worked 5 to 1, and then I had to do some, you don't care. I had a long day, and then my head hurt, but I couldn't sleep, so I decided to record now. And yeah, the other negatives. Come on, Houston. I mean, come on, Baltimore. Oof, I hope that doesn't bite me, but I'll change it. Come on, Houston, start losing some games. There we go. That's better. Mariners do not get any ground because Baltimore cannot beat the Astros in the finale. Now, they didn't lose any ground, so that's good. They got to start making up some ground, man. It's still 4.5 games with 31 games left for the Mariners. And I believe 32 games left for Houston. The math is gory. The math is gory. Negatives in terms of players. The middle of the order, if you count Polanco in the middle and skip a couple of guys, and even Rosarina didn't have a great day. None of the offense had fantastic days. Julio drives in the run, but his timing was clearly off. He looked a little hobbled. He's looked a little hobbled pretty much any time I've seen him sprint, to be honest, outside of playing in center field. But yeah, he's got to be better. Big dumper gets the big hit in the first. Big. It's big. I thought it was big to score a run. We'll talk about it in a second. The other 3 at-bats were really bad. And Jorge Polanco really struggled today too. So those 3 have got to be better. Those are 3 of your 4 best hitters, maybe 3 of your best, most talented hitters, 3 of your 4 most talented for sure. They got to be better. They got to be better. The Mariners should have scored a lot more runs. By the way, really hope that Robbie Ray is okay. I can't root for it. I obviously can't root for injuries. Nobody should. And I just hate seeing it. Didn't pitch great when he was in the game, but yeah. Hope you are okay, Robbie Ray. Also hope you're okay, Luke Raley. It sounds like it was just an illness thing today. But Randy Rosarina has to play center field today because Julio was at that DH spot and Victor Robles was not available with the finger injury, and Luke Raley scratched with illness. Hopefully both those guys back in the lineup soon. They missed him today, even in a win. I think you missed at least one of them. Luke Raley's been absolutely fantastic in August, and we've talked ad nauseum about how much Victor Robles has helped this baseball team. I could talk about the bullpen in the negative section, but I'm actually going to turn it into a positive. Something you really don't have to turn into the positive is simply Seattle. They're the best. They have the very best in Seattle sports gear. Use code MOLLYWOP15 to save 15% off your order. MOLLYWHOP15. You can find great stuff for the Mariners, the Kraken, the Seahawks, Storm, Sounders, Supersonics. You can find it all at simplyseattle.com. And then use that code to save 15% off your order. MOLLYWHOP15. Link in the description. Thank you so much, Simply Seattle. And thank you guys for clicking on that stuff. because they deserve your business and you get cool stuff. So it's a win-win, and a win for B too, because, shows you're paying attention to the show. Okay, so I just mentioned the bullpen, right? And look, Colin Snyder gives up the homer and he walks a couple of guys. And Andres Munoz walks a couple of guys. And both of those guys really struggled with their command today. Control, command, both. 4 walks between them after the starter, who we will definitely close with, didn't walk anybody. It was scary. It was scary for sure. But the reason I call it a positive is, sure, Colin Snyder, again, I think that's the first earned run he's given up in a while. Now, he gave up the zombie runner against Boston not that long ago, but Colin Snyder's been absolutely sensational. And I love that, number one, they used him in this situation because, especially with Jimmy Garcia on the injured list, that's absolutely what Colin Snyder's role should be right now. He should be your top setup man. And even while he struggled, yes, he gives up the homer. Yes, he gives up a couple of walks. He gets out of it. He gets out of the jam. He's done even when the stuff hasn't looked at its best, he's been able to limit the damage. Today, Colin Snyder was probably worse than a 1-inning of 1-run baseball guy, but that's all he ends up giving up. And look, Andres Munoz, the command just hasn't looked the same lately. Even take away that fantastic effort where on Friday where he was dominant and you were like, oh, that's the Andres Munoz of old. The last 4 or 5 appearances for Andres Munoz have been kind of shaky, but he's still able to get through it, and he's still able to get a couple of huge strikeouts, and he keeps them off the board in a 1-run game. And you get a series. I mean, to say you had to win this series is the understatement of understatements. I would pretty much say dunzo if they lose. 6 games in 30 isn't impossible. It's just too hard for me to predict you to do that. 4.5 is tough enough, but 5.5, essentially 6, with that little of a season left. I think that might have been I don't want to say that. I don't, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. And we don't have to say that because they do get the win. But come on, Baltimore. And come on, whoever's playing the Astros next. I don't have it in front of me. Offensively, great game from Dylan Moore. Reaches 3 times and steals 3 bags. Really strong game from him. And he wasn't supposed to be in the lineup today. He ends up coming in, and he was fantastic. Great to see. It's been nice to see that the approach has remained solid even while the hits haven't dropped, or if we're being completely honest, while he strikes out. But strong game from him. And look, Josh Rojas, who's become a little bit of a punching bag as of late, and justifiably so. It's worth pointing out Eugenio Suarez basically since June has been sensational. And since May, Josh Rojas has been, I believe Josh Rojas since the start of May is something like a 0.4 WAR player. Not the best, especially considering he has added value with that defense. Anyway, Josh Rojas was terrific today. And getting that big hit to give them that 2-run cushion off of a left-hander. And Josh Rojas is one of the worst hitters I've ever seen against southpaw pitchers. If he stayed in, he got a bad pitch, but he lined it up the middle. He's able to score the run. It was huge. Huge. The difference in the game. And he reaches 3 times today. Oh, it would be nice to get him going. A nice day from Justin Turner at the plate. Randy Arozarena only goes 1 for 2. He gets hit because he's become the new Ty France. But I thought he looked absolutely, for a guy who probably hasn't played center field in a while. And look, I should have done the research. I'll try to stop saying and look so much, but I don't think I can. But I'm guessing he hasn't played it in a while, or at the very least, he hasn't played it a lot. Excellent job. Tracked down a couple of baseballs. Great to see that he could fill in there and look competent. because he might have to play there again. It's going to depend on how Julio's feeling, I think. But that was strong to see. Any other offensive positives? No. But we've got to talk about Brian Wu. And I hate that it took me 10 minutes to get into Brian Wu. I mean, and it's funny because, there's been the injuries, and then, there were a couple of scuffles, but I don't think you could be too hyperbolic about what Brian Wu has given the Seattle Mariners, even in a shorter time than all of the other starters. Like, shorter by a significant margin, sure. But I don't think there's a starter pitching better baseball right now than Brian Wu. The results have been fantastic, and he's looked fantastic doing it. And here's another thing. I talked about it with Colin Snyder. Like, he gives up the homer, but he's able to work through it. Andres Munoz gives up a couple of runners. He's able to work through it. Brian Wu gives up the 2-run homer in the first, and you might be thinking, well, you certainly would be thinking last year at this point, and it's okay for you to think that about a rookie. It's okay for you to think about it for a second-year pitcher too, that you kind of go, uh-oh, is this where the regression comes? No. No, he shoved from the second inning to the 7th inning. Shoved. Just so impressed with his command, so impressed with how much better his secondary stuff has looked. I mean, if they somehow do this, Brian Wu is starting a playoff game. If he's not, he better be one of your go-to relievers. But I'd be starting Brian Wu. I don't know how you can't at this point. I'm not saying he's your game 1 guy. I'm not even saying he's your game 2 guy. I still think I would rather have Castillo, and I'd probably rather have Gilbert at this point, and we'll see how Kirby finishes the year. But right now, Brian Wu is out pitching everybody. Let's look at this game log, right? So today, 7 innings of 1 run, 1 earned run, because there was an error before. Then you have 6 1/3, 2 runs against the Dodgers, 7 innings of shutout baseball against Detroit, 6 2/3 innings of 3-run baseball. And I think he was better than that. I think we'd all admit that he was better than that. 7 innings of shutout baseball against Philadelphia. Just the 4 innings, and we were frustrated by that against Chicago in the start before that. But this is now 5 straight starts where he's worked into the 7th inning, completed the 7th inning in 3 of those 5. How can you be hyperbolic about how good Brian Wu is? Boy, oh boy. And the future is so bright because the secondary stuff is going to keep getting better. Do I think he's a future ace? No. I think there will be some clunkers here and there that keep him from reaching that. But do I think he is a really good number 2, number 3 starter? The top of the mid rotation? Yeah. He's pitching better than that right now. I'll tell you that much. Just fantastic. And they've needed it. So now you've got 3 games coming up against the Rays. Rays have played okay. They're pretty even with Seattle. At this point, you've just got to win series. You just got to win series and hope that Houston falters down the stretch. Really, the goal should be now. And I don't know when they play Houston. Let me look at that. I knew that. That is the penultimate series, right? Your goal now should be to play well enough to make that series matter. Even if you're just down 3 and you need the sweep. And, maybe you get some help from Houston, or you know what I mean. Help from Houston by losing is what I'm saying. Not very eloquently. In their final series. But that's your goal now. And you have how many series before that one takes place? Quite a few. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 10 series left. You probably got to win 8 of them to be in this. If you can go 8 games over 500 in that stretch, I think you got a shot. I think you got a shot. It certainly helps. And again, it doesn't matter too much who they play based on how they played over that last week. Anybody but the White Sox could have beaten the Mariners over the last 10 games prior to this series. And there were still some guffaws in this series too. But the Angels aren't good. The Athletics aren't good. Texas is kind of packing it in. You play Texas 7 games. You play Oakland 7 games. You know, you got the Cardinals who should be battling still. You got the Padres who are battling still. And the Yankees. But you got a shot. And if you can win 8 of those 10 series, I think you got a real shot to do this. By the way, if you're curious what Houston plays, and at this point, I think it's worth, we're going to be scoreboard watching in every one of these videos. We have to. We absolutely have to. Okay. So look, they split the series against Baltimore. We sure would have appreciated Baltimore. I've said that way too much. But it's still tough for them. Philadelphia. And we'll see how Justin Verlander looks. Kansas City, who's not only playing for a postseason spot, they're playing for a division title. Cincinnati's not easy. Arizona's real tough right now. Now they get Oakland and LA too. And then they end the year with Cleveland. And Cleveland probably playing for a playoff spot at this point. Not a guarantee, but probably. And yes, I realize I'm looking ahead a month and 3 days. Almost exactly a month is when that series will start. But I think it's okay to look ahead now, mainly because it doesn't hurt us to look ahead. Nothing we do affects the Seattle Mariners. As much as we'd like to say, oh, I wore my lucky belts and had my lucky sandwich and all that stuff. We know how it goes. So we can look ahead. But I know. I know. You just got to win the games that are in front of you. But that's what I'm saying now, is you've got to win 8 of those 10 series. And really, since they have some 4-game series left, you can't lose any of those. You got to at least split in those. And I think those 4-game series left, and I realize this is a really long video now, but, you know, it's not like you have anything better to do. Come on, you're watching a Mariner YouTube show. Thank you for doing so, by the way. Those 4-game series left are against Oakland. You can't lose that series. Texas, probably shouldn't lose that series. Those are the only 4-game series left. And you really should be winning it against Oakland and a split against Texas. Who knows? Who knows? I'm rambling now. And I apologize for the dog snoring in the background, but Molly's very tired. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. Appreciate your guys' patience. Really would appreciate you guys hitting join. We'll do a live chat this week for sure, as long as my head feels up to it. And top 10 prospect video will be up this morning as well for Mile Y enthusiasts. $4.99 a month. Wow. 19 minutes. Ridiculous. Love you. Bye.